I mean, John has been.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dan Lutz, and welcome to the latest broadcast, FrontLines, for Where We Go One, We Go All .love. We've been covering topics when we're going up against the entire cabal system. we have these particular front lines that we have to look at, and how do we proceed forward to create something brand new, something that is based in abundance, not in scarcity model. One of the most important areas is energy. We're taught that energy costs money. So we have the Petro Dollar. And so why is this actually a problem, right? Because the whole system relies on energy, and the more expensive it is, the more money there is. So it has to get bigger to absorb that extra cost associated with it. So buying barrels of oil, for example. Now, I've talked previously, not too long ago, about the nuclear fake that's been done, where there's they make it more dangerous than necessary to kind of get people not to want to use it. They also focus on just one system that produces a very dangerous form, just so they can make the plutonium for making nuclear weapons. So in this world, when we're looking at everything around us, and we see everything is based in dollars and energy and the cost of fuel, cost of electricity, and this keeps rising and rising. The more these things cost, the less mobile we are, the less we're able to move and make things happen for ourselves and for our communities and for the world, because we're now depressed by this. And energy, if we actually get outside of this model of where we have to pay, so much money for this energy, and we look at the world, everything is electricity. Everything is energy. Everything is vibrating with energy. Now, say you have to stick a meter on it and be charged for accessing that, is where we're at. And can we have a different model? And that's what I think we should focus on. So nuclear, okay, great. There's the other reactors that are plasma reactors, or the other forms of the molten thorium reactor that would, not create harmful radiation at all. But there's other forms, Tesla's energy, just tapping the magnetosphere and just broadcasting the energy to be received by receivers. That's one method. I've mentioned, probably not recently since I started these new broadcasts, but I've mentioned the Rodin coil, based around the Nikola Tesla's magic number set, and it's a new winding, and it can basically again attract or position the energy in a way that we can tap it and use it to create electricity. So I see that there's many forms of energy that we can access, and I'm going to actually talk about another one. This one has had really acknowledged people behind it. Well, actually, one gentleman, and I have queued up here a video. It's a clean energy talking, and it's called the Searle Effect 0-point generator. So the Searle effect is by the one who basically discovered this effect. And it really has to do with what they call the law of squares, what he called the law of squares. And it's back to numbers. It's the nature is in numbers. It looks chaotic, but there's order in chaos. And what he's found a way to do was to organize the chaos in a way that basically allowed for the flow of electrons. One of the other things that is most notable about what he says is that magnetism and photons are the same. They're like two sides of the same coin. So this may be a hard concept, but for people. But since I first knew about this from 20 some years ago, I was on that path of understanding that, and I really think that there is something here that we can look at. Now it's a pretty simple. When you see it, you'll understand why the electricity is generated. Now this has never gone into a full scale system that generates electricity, but everyone can see that the electricity is generated. So we're just to watch a few minutes of this right here and see what it is.
You need energy. That's important, and it must be cheap as possible. Preferable no pollution.
No noise, no heat, no vibration, no pollution. The Searl effect generator. The perfect machine.
As you build this, when you find out that it runs without friction, it runs without a governor, it runs with any load and meet it, it will dive down in temperature at one point, if you don't do it correctly, and actually levitate and actually lift off the Earth, developing its own gravitational field. When you see all these things, you realize that this is a perfect machine. It is an entity. It's the closest thing to a living thing that man can make.
Does John Searl have the answer? Is John Searl's invention the point of impact between the question, what if there is a machine that could save mankind? And the answer, the Searl effect generator.
People say, well, you can't do this. You're going to upset the entire world economy.
Frozen. It's okay. Let it freeze. So this system is very simple. You have these rollers that are going to be going around one direction and another going the other directions, and as they spin, they're magnets, and so they're basically causing waves of electricity to basically be captured by this outer ring of transformers. Pretty simple. And it does rely on what they call rare earth minerals. And one thing, a lot of things about rare earth minerals is that they're not as rare as they want to make them out to be. Again, this is a financial means of control, right? You call them rare, like diamonds, like they're rare diamonds. So you make them harder to come by, more expensive, so you can't build things like this because it's so expensive. Where do you get the money? So again, it's all back to the money system controlling everything. So the Petro Dollar energy system. So there is a way of creating these things and have them fit into the existing model for a period of time where they are, or you are charging for them. You can look at what they've done with solar, and it is a fairly clumsy model, right? I like looking at Solar City that because it was a way of literally just fitting in by making it. Well, number one, it's expensive to put in solar because it's unnecessarily expensive compared to I'll give you an example because I've done extensive research on this. We're looking at least under $1 a watt to install if there's no tariffs on it. I'm not against tariffs in general that Trump is putting on, China and everything. But in this one instance, in this one area, it is problematic. But it's the way that it's fit into the system, right? So that it's absorbed. Because you continue to pay this system because it's expensive to get set up for the storage of the energy and everything. They make it so expensive that you have to pay for it over time. 15 years, for example. You're paying on this. So this is a way that it fits into the. You're creating free energy, and then after that, you're supposed to be able to, okay, now you've got free energy, quote unquote. But you still have to buy some. You're still on the grid, and so on. but that system is a way of controlling the thing. So as I said, it's less than $1 a watt for if you were to really do it without the tariffs. With the tariffs on it, you're spending over $3. So it's basically a third of the cost that it should be. So if you could pay off your system in 5 years, would that not be more attractive for people to basically install a solar system on their roof? So, I've been looking at also the solar specifically because of the Abundance Mine project. And this is something that is progressing, though it has slowed down because there was a few issues that came into the middle. But without getting into that it is progressing. But the solar is just one answer. But there are other systems out there that are seeming to creep out right now. Nate, who is in the might be in the chat room with us right now, is involved with a hydro system, where they have a technique for moving from a contained container of water. You push the water through a pump into a turbo generator to generate the electricity, and you move the water back into the tank. Now, normally there's some problems doing that they've overcome in their model to allow for the water to flow back in frictionless, or without the resistance of the water pushing back against it. So usually, if how do you bring the water back in? Because you have to push the water back up the hill, right? Then you're using electricity you generated to push it back up. So they've solved that problem. But there's others, such as systems like this, the rodent coil. There's a lot of things that are coming out that are trying to generate these things. Other sort of magnetic systems. There's battery technologies that once you get them charged, they last forever. Not quite forever, but years upon years, and they'll keep producing energy. It's just the function of the way they do it. So electricity costs should be a lot less, but the problem is that our system of money relies on it. And that's why our system of money has to not be attached to energy. If we don't attach the money to energy, then that cost will come down, which empowers us to do things, right? Much easier for us to do things. Also means that we're not in control, right? Which is another part of this system that we're looking at. The system of control that they're putting us is getting more tight, and they want to make it so much more tight, just going right into a fascist worldwide dictatorship, and under the communist mantle. So when we're looking at this as one of the front lines, we have to realize that it's the attaching energy and money together is causing us a very big problem. And we have to look at moving beyond this model, recognizing that we have to still be in the existing model and transition to the new one. And that way, things just keep flowing. Things are going to function. So there are ways to look at this so that, and I kind of, came up with a model under Abundance Mine, using the same reference. It's very applicable here, in which we would be able to create energy through whatever means, whatever renewable piece, and still have it apply and fit into the existing model. Somewhat looking at Solar City's model and tweaking it. And what that Solar City model was, just to be specific, is they would say, give us your electricity bill. We will take it and we'll say, okay, now we're going to install this solar system on your home. Instead of paying this bill to the electric company, you're going to pay it to us. We're your new electric supplier, but all you're doing is you're paying off the installation of this system. And so what they do when they take your bill is to say, well, this is our source of funds. They go to a bank and they get a loan so that they can finance putting out that technology on your roof. So, but you then pay that for the next 15 years, right? So again, if this was a third of the cost, you get paid off in 5 years. It sound more reasonable? Would more people rather do this? Wouldn't more people rush to do that if it, you start talking 15 years out, you start thinking, well, it's going to cost me to fix this. Is there a problem? And so on. So then you get into these kind of problems. So over time, your electricity cost, which has been going through the roof anyway, and in true capitalist models, things get less expensive over time, not more expensive over time. Now, you might, even if you factor in the inflation, energy cost is outpacing that. Again, also because it's attached to the money system. So if we're going to look at how do we make a similar model as Solar City, where people are able to now pay their electricity bill as normal, but that it fits in with the existing model of having to pay on the meter and so on. And actually, the model I came up with meant that you actually are going to pay the same amount that you normally are paying. It's not less expensive for you to pay. The difference is that when you buy into the abundance mind system, is that you are going to be able to buy tokens that give you a share of the mining output. So whatever that output was for the day, it goes into your account. Now, if you kept buying tokens to pay your bill, right, your monthly bill, you're funding the ability for us to go out and make more solar, which we would be able to feed into the grid, right? And then you can pay us to pay the bill, right? But over time, the Bitcoin generated would still keep increasing. Again, you're paying your normal bill, right? Normal amount. But now you have this asset that if you sold it, you're able to then pay less for your electricity. And over time, you would start generating more Bitcoin than the cost of your electricity. So in essence, you're still paying the bill, but your cost came down to zero. And then as time went on after that, you actually start making money by using electricity. Abundance model. There are ways to do this, right, in which we're able to actually achieve the same goal of, free energy, actually. And what I've been kind of talking about is also creating an abundance-based world, is when you get paid for doing things. You reverse the flow. Instead of like when we're talking with Tui in Fiji, and he said, well, the Fijians, that's not our nature to kind of go into the market and set up stores to sell things and make the profit. And, if we have a store and our family members come in, they just, leave with all the foods and things like that without paying. We don't charge them. So it's a very bad business model. Right? You can't keep that rolling that way. But if it was the other way around, if they came in and they took their grocery items and they got paid for everything that they took, wouldn't that make much more sense? Now, here's well, that can't be. How can that work, right? Well, what happens with the store owner, and they have to buy goods, right? When they buy the goods, they're getting paid to do so. So they get the goods. Oh, well, where do they get the goods from? Well, let's say they got it from a distributor. And the distributor, so he's going to have to pay right? The next step up, right? He has to pay, the store owner, right? Well, okay, where did he get the money? Well, he got paid when he bought from the manufacturer. Oh, great. Well, where did the manufacturer get money from? From the government, from manufacturing, from making goods and putting them into the system, which gave the ability for the government to make the money, to pay to pay the manufacturer. That way, and then all money flows only out of the government, never into the government. No taxing, no fees, no sort of income into the government, no money flowing into the government. The government is able to produce money. If there's no central bank that they're borrowing from, right? That's constantly creating this Ponzi scheme, right? So how do you create the system? You basically have to redesign the system. Now, there is a way to make it work simultaneously. Without getting into all those details, but you can make them work together, both simultaneously, both paying out and paying in at the same time. Until that system doesn't really need to function anymore. We can do it. We can create a new world based on abundance, not based upon energy that's going higher and higher in cost and basically restricting us from moving, which means we basically just grind to a halt, which was part of the cabal plan, right? So that they can create the problem so they can come back with the solution. And while they blame us for the problem, when they're the ones that are creating the problem. But they have to blame us, make us feel bad about ourselves too. Horrible things we're doing to the planet and all the rest of that garbage. All right. So that's my piece for today. That's the new Frontline. How do we basically create an abundance-based world using energy and a new money system. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and look at the chat room, see if there's anything there. Anyone have any questions? Again, I've posted the link, wwg1wga.love Telegram group. It's there, so if you'd like to jump on, please do so. If you want to find the link for that Telegram group, it's down below in the description. Please subscribe. Please give thumbs up. Let me go and check and see how we're doing there on the thumbs up and the chat and see where things are. Okay, we've got 56 people watching, and we've got the chat room is rolling. See if we've got any questions right now. I'm gonna share my screen. Let me zoom in. Okay. Okay, hellos and namastes. Gas is $3.18 a gallon. Well, what state is that? I think it seems to be it was floating between there and $4 when I was in California. They had so much heavy on tax there, so don't know. It's another part of the problem is that they continue to tax this, right? The government needs more money. They're driving business out of California, so what do? They increase the taxes so that they can continue with these services that they want to give out, right? If the system was different, would the local governments be able to move money out into the system? Sure. Wouldn't have to be just from the federal. They could go to the states to the local, and they could basically go out. So if you had a local project, you had to build a school, you had to build a road. Where does that happen? It shouldn't happen at the federal. That centralized government system is not efficient. You decentralize the government. You bring everything down to the point of the local government, and they distribute the funds to build the school from there. All right. So let's see. Where else? That's Arizona. I guess. Okay. Planes flying on water since 1915. William Mount. Yep. There's water engines. I heard there's all sorts of things that have been available. There's ways of converting the existing engines to go 1,000 miles per gallon. 100,000. Like changing the carburetor. The carburetor we have is so inefficient. If you change it out, you can literally, and this was discovered by the car manufacturers a long time ago. So, but would this bring down energy costs tremendously, right? Because, you would have an ability to go so far in your car, you'd only have to go the same amount of distance, it would cost you much less. You're going to say, oh, well, the price of energy would go up and it would kind of meet. Yeah, there's only so much that they can pump that up. It may $1,000 a gallon. What sense does it make? Okay, quantum shift. Kent Dunn. The end of May. This is the end of May. For me, I don't know. I'm in June. Am I that far ahead? Tui, are we out there so far ahead? No, I guess I'm the link to Tui. Tui, I'll send you the link directly, just in case you want to jump on. I will be sure to send Tui the link early also for the Dank Live. We'll go from there. All right. Yeah, a lot of things happening in the quantum space. Computing to the financial system. I'm going to make this Nisa Bula Vinica all. Okay. Happy to be in the right place, right time around. I was on tomorrow's show. How did you get there? I'm not there yet. When the new link came in my email, Loving, Healing, Light, a wonderful file. Okay, all right. Where did it jump from? I hate when that happens. I gotta go find it again. I must be missing something. Oh, there we go. Okay, Benjamin Fulford interview, May is done. Fourth Reich is failing. Prepare for change. Yes, the Fourth Reich has failed. They don't want. They're very much into the programming, even of their own individuals. They can only redo what they're programmed to do. They have to be triggered to do the next thing. If they don't get those triggers, right, they don't move. So they're very inefficient, right? We're very organic. The tank comes on and the line blows up over here. We go and flip another one. Someone interference on this other information that tank is trying to put together, reorganize it and put it out. Yesterday when I started this, the whole system froze twice. I had to shut down and do this 3 times before I could actually get on the air. Yeah, it's strange. Hello. Trump has taken over the English fleet. Yeah, it'll be interesting. Okay, question, Dan. How does government undertake social infrastructure project for the people in that model? Well, that's the whole point. Whatever the, also now you say you have your governing body, Congress, and the executive branch, the judicial branch, whatever. So the creation of the project comes out of Congress. The Trump approves it, and then goes out to whoever's going to be doing the project. So let's say it goes to that state, and that state gets the funds moving to it. The state then goes out to the local governments and distributes out to the local governments, and the local government then ends up hiring the people to make everything happen, right? So that's the flow. It basically comes that direction. Now that money is now out in the system, and the system is not going to absorb it back. But what does happen though is, because this was produced, it is an asset, right? Existing system works off of an asset being used to create cash. No difference here. It's how it's organized. It's just organized differently, so that this system, the cash just flows out from the government, never in. So if you never had to do taxes, you don't have to do. You don't have to be an accountant and keep all your receipts if you don't want to. If you're a business that's relying upon receipts and all those kind of things, and just-in-time inventory, or any of the other things that are part of running a business, so you can keep order, so you can keep the flow going, and you're big, you have to keep track of those things. But smaller businesses, they're much more loose about that. So, but the system requires you to be able to do things up at the level of having an accountant agency looking over your books for your, $50,000 a year business. So if there's no need to collect any money from the people, what is giving the authorization for the government to do something is based upon the productivity of the individual citizens. Businesses, manufacturing of goods, manufacturing of assets. People can manufacture assets as well as a business. The guy that wants to make cabinets, he's manufacturing. That productivity is measured and gives the government the ability. So if the government is creating policies that promote the actual creation of productivity, if it's a very productive culture, the government can actually make more. It's very symbiotic in that way. It's not parasitic. There you go. Okay. Let's see. Thanks for being in harmony at the unity here now. All right. Oh, it jumped again. There we go. Hi, Dan. Hi, Laura. This is your house and tanks. My question is, if a Jassar Nassar RV supporter or person who still believes comes in chat, shall we throw them out? Be nice. Oh, you don't throw them out. Just explain. Now I followed Nassara. Now Jassar is not anything that was ever anything other than part of that GCR world of the fake story that they put out there to get. Well, what about the rest of the world, right? There's Nassara, but what about the rest of the world? So Nassara, was something that I followed. I read the law when it originally was being put into place and being voted on. I remember when it actually was passed. I remember that, right? I remember that the people that I was talking with were talking about it. Now, did I go into Congress? Did I see all this events? Did I see, the military intervening and all? No, I just didn't see any of this. And I was very skeptical at the time that anything would happen. But I did follow it. And I remember Willie Nelson and the Farm Aid and the reasoning behind that. I remember the general that was basically the retired general that took this up and ushered it through. Again, military coming to save the day against the bureaucracy, against the deep state, against the banking cabal. So this is something that so Jassara kind of just morphed out of a Me Too movement, right? They want to basically have that go worldwide. Okay, so they just came into the system. But the people that are coming here to find out about what we're talking about need to be able to express what they feel and know and what their truth is about it, what they understand, and hopefully adapt to where we look like we're going. Right? We have an agenda here of bringing about abundance-based world, not requiring an exchange of pretty paper. What's currencies or historical bonds, but just really the person of redesigning the world system for the benefit of all. All right, so there we go. But one more thing, if people are coming from they're coming here are belligerent and they're really just casting negative energy and they don't want to have a conversation, right? It's okay to disagree. It's okay to have a conversation. As I said, I admitted when I was wrong about the RV and the GCR, and I just, and it's a hard thing when you're so much involved with it, right? And listen, my friends who are so heavy in it, right? They know what I'm doing. They know my opinion about it, but they are listening to me, but it's so hard for them to detach from what they've spent so much of their life energy on. And I wish that they could just really see that they're on that it can't happen the other way because it's really bad. They don't want to accept that. It's like going through the 5 stages of grief, right? They're in denial. A lot of them are in that stage of denial. They don't want to admit it, right? And when they get next, we'll find the other where they want to negotiate, right? The anger stage, the negotiation stage, the acceptance is the phase that it took me actually a while to get there because I needed to really kind of analyze the information. It took me time. Over a year, I would say. I was always skeptical about a lot of the questions I had about the GCR and RV, but it's like you kind of try and piece together maybe what's going on. You're not supposed to know a whole thing, right? Anyway, all right, and we'll just continue. Oh, hello, Lisa in New Orleans. Thanks for the email. I can suggest there is a church that I had worked with, became business partners with the pastor there on some other projects. Very good church. I can suggest you actually reach out to the Church of Abundance Life. I believe it's in Harvey, Louisiana. And it's Pastor Jonas Robertson. Very good church. I'm sure that they will be willing to help. I haven't spoken with Jonas in a good number of years, probably about 7-8 years, something along those lines. And I was going to try and reach out to him to speak with him about you, but time zones and everything. I got to figure out how I can get to him at the right time. Okay, hopefully that helps you. But Joe, go ahead, check them out. You'll be able to find them again. Harvey, I think it's number 3 Parr Street, if I'm correct. Church of Abundant Life. Church of Abundant Life. So abundance has been part of things I've been working on for a long time. Okay, Q. Is it possible to privately contact Tui? Well, he is available in Telegram. You contact me in Telegram, I will then, share your information to Tui. Or share you his. You can look him up by his name. He hasn't made a username yet. Okay, let's continue. Oops, I jumped up ahead again. really did. Did it jump that many? I keep losing track. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, question for two on 2E side. All right, got it. All right. I love your show and appreciate you all. Thank you, Lisa. All right. All right, Laura, just in case Dan can't get to your message in time, I only advise you to be nice but firm in your position instead of kicking them out. I don't think anyone can kick anyone out here. I think I can. Yeah. I only block serious trolls. You get on my troll elimination device, and then they're gone. It's called blocking. Block from the channel. All right, see what else. Dan, like always, great show. Don't stop. Thanks, Randy. I'm not stopping. It's all Tank's fault. He said, "Oh, we're gonna, do the Dank Live every day until the money comes in." He wants to. He was, thanking me for helping him get. He wanted to do this broadcast show for years. So now he got his training wheels off, and he's off and running. I've gone through a lot of training of people to get them on doing broadcasts. That's why I suggest everyone here do a broadcast. If you look into the broadcasts that are done on, if you go into blog.TheBillionCoin.info, you just look at all of the latest posts. There's probably even a dozen in a week of posts. You'll see the people that are normal average day people just doing a broadcast, and they got started because they got part of the Kringle Society, right? And this is a very successful way of getting the information to move, right? And that's what we've been talking about. How do we break through the shadow banning and everything else that they've been putting through? So, all right, so it bumped up again. I gotta figure a way to find where I don't get lost in this because it keeps bumping. Okay, I see how I can do this. I'll just highlight as I go. Good moments, Dan. Thank you. I like my. I've started this as a trend. All right, I'm the one that coined it. Good moments to everyone instead of good morning. So just spread that out there. Yeah, I'm using it more and more. Good moments. Good moment to you. Thank you. I remember that email address going by. Phone is hacked. Yeah. Lisa, just the hacking and stuff that goes on. Not really much you can do really about that, right? You just have to be positive about the things that you focus on. And they lose power when you remain positive, no matter what they're doing. The other day, my phone just literally, Tank was, they were trying to interrupt Tank calling in. I was on another phone with him, but it came up and with malicious hack on my phone. So you just got to laugh, move past it, and realize that, there's not going to be this. It's more about fear than them actually doing anything, right? So it's if you think that you're frightening them, then you should start doing some broadcasts. Maybe you're frightening them. If you're not frightening them, then it's not. It's just fear coming towards you. The fear game. Okay. Quantum shift also reported by Pompeo was by Bilderberg. What happened there? I really didn't follow what happened with Kushner and Pompeo going to the Bilderberg meeting. If anyone has any input on that, send me a link, send me a video. Please provide the time code. Send me an hour video or so, and tell me. I just can't get to all of them, so I probably wouldn't see it. So give me a minute that it starts at, and I'll go right there. No problem. Okay. Big grins. I like big grins. More revealing information about Trump and how long ago planned was implemented. Yeah, my friend who was, basically he died before I literally came out here 5 years ago. And it was because he got into the GCR, and it didn't really dawn on me until recently that the reason probably he was taken out, and he was warned by George Bush Sr. to stay out of it because he was involved with them. He was moving boxes. He was helping take these things to the trading platforms. And he was basically when I first told him about the redemption of the historical bonds, or the super Pacellis, back in 2014. It really blew past me. I didn't even realize it all these years that what he had said at that time when that first brought it up was that all of that's already been redeemed. So, and I know that he was involved with actually doing using some of these, and that's why he got into trouble with them, because he was doing it. He got some for himself to use, and they didn't like that. And since he knew the system, he knew how to make it happen. They unmade him. They unpersoned him, and he disappeared from the system. No bank accounts, no nothing, gone. But this stuff has been going on based upon stuff that's already been redeemed. So what has it all been about? If all that is already taken care of, what is this other than a show? Something to get us to do something, to jump through the hoops, to get to where they want us to go. The herd follow the wranglers. We can't stop following the RV wranglers. Yeah, that's a new one. We'll go with that for a while. Okay, let's see. I'll keep. Oh, there it went and jumped again. There you go. What's this flower? I watched the recorded version of the discussion you had on ascension. Not true death does not stop ascension. Jesus ascended in death, and so many monks in the Far East. Yeah. Well, there's a lot to do on ascension. The question is, do you want to move on? Is it really the goal, or can you move back? If you're up there for a while, do you decide you want to come back down? Back and forth. Yeah. So, I think that we've got a lot to do here now. It's a miraculous time. Do we really want to ascend, or are we just talking about and I'm talking ascension? Going to just energy, right? And not in this physical space, physical dimension. We've got some work to do here. So I plan to be here for a while. All right, let's go. Dan, how dies our Father, the Creator figure with the galactics? How dies our Father? I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. You have to be more clear, Lori. I don't get that. Multitask here. Okay, I'm multitasking. Well, I've got, I'll be on for another 10 to 20 minutes. So probably as soon as we get to the bottom of this line here. Oh, we're getting close to the bottom anyway. So let's see. Don't know where it is. Okay. A gem and a gentleman. Who, me? I don't know. It might be for some. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't want to bring harm to him. This is very serious. Thank you, Dan. All right. Well, Lisa, don't worry. Jonas is well protected. Go ahead and contact them. I'm serious. Don't worry. All right. Okay, Robert, you may be able to ask a question. I'm not sure how this all weaves together. Well, we're trying to figure it out, how it all weaves together. You know, it's a part of the thing is we've got a lot of different fronts, a lot of different things. You know, start talking about, you know, renewable energy, how it's tied to money. And it's you know, very interesting how these things come about. So, oh, here's the question. An American married couple just died from a mysterious infection while on vacation. Arrived May 5th, died May 25th. The husband dies soon after. What's the question? That's a statement. Robert, you left me hanging. All right. Thank you, Ra and the flower. I'm full of light, and my Father is Savior Jesus Christ. The Holy Spirit fills my soul, full of love for humankind. Yes. I actually like the term humankind. It's a kind word. Okay, so there was an American couple visiting shortly before their ultimate demise. Right on. This happened in Fiji and nada. Having heard anything on this, I was reported on ABC and The Sun on Fiji. I didn't know anything about it. Okay. Some are ready for ascension and some won't be. Sure. You can ascend at any time. Just do it. It's up to you. Okay, we're getting close to the bottom here. Dan, I never understood the galactic part of this equation. All right. Well, we'll end there. Any more questions? Oh, here's one. Will there still be debt forgiveness? I would say that in general, the debt has been forgiven. We can look at it many different ways, but what form that will take, we're going to be an abundance-based place. If it involves you having a project where it involves paying off your debt, you know, and then building your house, these are all things that are fine. Just we can take care of that. But all right, let's end here. Well, I'm gonna get out of the screen sharing, and let's talk about the galactics for a moment, and we'll end there. So everywhere in the universe is life. Everywhere. It's not rare. It's abundant. And as such, there have been, you know, intelligent, you know, beings that have transversed, and you know, has this been, you know, have the humans here been in a more elevated position before? You know, we tie in all sorts of things. Of people from Atlantis, and we can tie in what's happened with the idea of an Anunnaki from Nibiru, and the Anunnaki also are an extension of the reptilians from Orion. The Galactics are basically if you look at Star Trek, the Federation of Planets, something along the lines of a galactic group, and it's the prime directive of Star Trek is non-interference. So, but always there's some gray areas to this, and so how is there assistance over the years or whatever. But when there's actually some request to help that was supposedly happened with the Anunnaki at some point, and had some agreement to come in and save the day, was put into place. It was under the military dictatorship that was imposed. And whatever came after that, whatever society, Sumerian, Egyptian, Babylonian, other farther areas from that region, going out into the Incas and the Mayans, and all of society throughout China, India, everything being tied together. Like Thomas Williams was recently saying that the Garden of Eden, the original Garden of Eden, is in India. I can understand that. I've spent a lot of time in India. I understand their old stories, and it sounded similar to me, right? And these are their old stories, and my ex-wife's uncle was a very learned individual, and I discussed a lot of things with him while I was there. We spent hours discussing history of India and what, and the way he related to me is their history was 40,000 years of history, not 4,000 years. And so what has been the interference of galactics has been under some rules of the game. And now apparently the Anunnaki, they're Enlil and Enki and Anu, are no longer here, and neither is Marduk, which is the one that was recently the comptroller, the master dictator, the head of the single monarch of the planet, right? Is not here anymore, dead. Is basically was removed by Kim, not because she was defending herself. So whatever that happened in this arena of how the galactics have been there, how does it tie in now? Is it it's hands off? Do we see things happening where they're doing disclosure out of Antarctica and cities and giant ships that are 30 miles long, and this is this coming back? Were there Palladians living in Pleasantville, California, as a way of commingling? All of this other parts of the story are all very interesting. Don't know what is the actual truth or what's is a manipulation. I'm open to all of it. From what piece. I do believe that there are galactics, that there are other races. Are they demons? Is that a whole other aspect of something interdimensional? I believe in interdimensional systems, because it's part of math. The math is there to support it. Can these dark beings be reaching out from the abyss and infiltrating and working their way into this world through systems? Yes. Doesn't mean there's not galactics. Just because you think that there's demons doesn't mean there's not galactics. So not all galactics are demons, in other words. So this is so how the galactics tie in all together is really not really as relevant. What we really need to focus on is what we need to make as a new world. What do we want that to look like? And we're there. We're doing it. The ideas I'm expressing as an alternative have been to make an abundance-based system have developed over decades. I started this a long time ago, thinking how to create these new systems, working with other people who recognize the problem. Very smart individuals, people in the trust. Let me say that the brain trust of the cabal. Those people that worked in the system, worked on these. People that work in these systems, like Pete Peterson would be working in Skunk Works. So, talking about these issues for a long time, there are ways that we can do things that make sense, that are easy to actually do, as long as we have the will to do it. And that's all it is. All the governments would freak out and say, oh, we can't collect taxes? What do you mean? Okay, well, fine. Collect your taxes for a while. Well, let's do this too. Both side by side. Two systems. Why not? Oh, we have to have one. No, we don't have to have one. We have to give, this whole other system that's based around super control and of every element of whether you're chewing gum or not, to, how much you have on your debt and birth certificate entity, the whole thing. It can live or die, but it's parasitic. And if the host decides to do something else, yeah, we're drained over here, but over time, it won't matter. It will just fade away, because it'll be a much more better system where everyone is making much more money, including those very smart people up at the top. If they're worried that they're not so smart, maybe that's why they want to hold on. Or they're lazy. They don't want to have to figure out things and think for themselves, because after all, in that system, everything's been laid out. They've been so compartmentalized, they don't know how to get through the ring within the ring within the ring. Kind of like this. They're locked in. It's generating. All right. I think that's good for today. 25 minutes from now, we will start with Tank Live. Tank will be on, and we'll start up again. Again, be sure to subscribe. It's important. Go ahead and give us a thumbs up if you like this. Where are we at with our thumbs up section here? I'm going to just take a quick look at where we ended up. 93 people watching and 32 thumbs up. Come on, guys. You got 93 people there. Go ahead. Give some thumbs up before we get going here, or even afterwards. That's fine. Any last questions? Yes, no question, no cue out there, so I didn't see any. So we'll go ahead and end it here. Again, thank you all for joining. See you in 5 minutes or tomorrow.